Sorry, Terry, didn't want to take all your spotlight on that, but I also had a lunch moment. But I wanted to just, I guess, impart a little bit of what has been going on with me for the last week and talk a little bit about, I guess, what it is to advocate for a community that's very underrepresented. So, I ran for Congress, and it just ended as of
last night.
Yeah, last night. So it's a little bit rough today, and I'm having a little bit of a moment. But so I'm really glad to be here with all of you. And I love being here. I think that. Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank
for
you.
real.
I think that it's a really big moment for me to think about what it's like to not be the Congress member for the area, and to know that there are so many needs that my community has. I've been a representative for the last 6 years in the State Assembly, and just to give folks a little bit of background, this district is the district that folks probably just heard about in the newspaper, where we found arsenic in our public housing. We saw that Hurricane Sandy happened in our district. We are the survivors of 9/11. This district was hit hardest by the pandemic, not just by the virus itself, but also by the racism that we all felt. And so, you know, it's really important for us to have representation that is actually representative of the community that that we are, right? This is a diverse community with, you know, so much need, but also so much beauty. And we are the community that, you know, when our federal government, our state government, and our city government left us behind to die, we got together and we were able to help to get the resources for us to survive.
That's right.
And you know, we need to fight for our small businesses, help to rebuild us, right? So many minority-owned businesses are still preyed on by predatory lenders, by, you know, these fraudulent practices. And we also are seeing that, you know, so many people are needing diverse representation. People don't see easily without the lenses and the perspective that, you know, most of Congress is missing.
That's
to
right.
be real. We have more multimillionaires in Congress than we do people of color, than we do people with disabilities, than we do people who are working class people.
That's right.
And 99% of our country is working class people. And so it's so important for us to have the representation that we deserve. And so that's why it's so hard to say, you know, that this district will not be represented by somebody who loves it. And so I think that that's the part that's hard. And it's really hard to be here, but I wanted to be. It's hard to be present when you have so many things that, you know, need to be brought to the fore, and you know that the community has so many needs, and you know that, you know, nobody's going to care about whether or not somebody has hot water or heat in their building. And what if this person doesn't care about the rising cost of broccoli? And what happens to my seniors in the senior centers who are constantly getting hurt by these predatory practices? And I have a hard time stomaching it, and I have a hard time letting go. And I know that, you know, it's not really letting go in the sense that I will continue to fight, and I will continue to represent my people, and I will continue to be here for everyone. But it's just so hard to know that in this time, in this moment in time, damage can be done, irreparable damage can be done. We've seen it on the federal level. We've seen it that, Roe was overturned, that, for 50 years, people were chipping away at our rights. And yet, in a moment, they can be taken away. And so, if we're not vigilant, if we're not there, then who's going to be there and what's going to happen? And so that gives me so much anxiety, because I know for a fact, if I wasn't there, then in our state, our budget would have gone by without people knowing that we had cut healthcare, that we had cut social services, that we had cut education in a moment when we needed to fund healthcare, education, and social services. And we would, if I wasn't there, then, a payday lending, company would have come in and been able to lobby to basically allow payday lending back into New York. If I wasn't there, these are the things that we were able to stop, and these were the things that we were able to fight for. And so I think that that's the moment where I have a hard time. It's not that I'm, the end all be all. It's that I'm just afraid. I'm afraid of what's to come, because the person that won is a multimillionaire who has no idea and has never ever understood what it's like to be one of us. And so that's where I am. That's my today. And I think that for me, the thing that drove me every single day are folks like Tim, are the folks who were in my team, the people who were around us. And I think that one of the biggest things that I wanted to be was a pipeline, a person who was always growing new talent, growing people who were going to be able to be voices for our community, and then help our community to be able to advocate for themselves in a moment when we needed it the most. I think that we have to make sure that our community is being vigilant. Our community is going to be able to conscientiously understand what is at stake and be the watchdog for making sure that we are not going to have our rights taken, and that we're not going to allow for somebody to not be vigilant for us.
That's right.
And so, I constantly try to make sure that our young people have more opportunities. And one of the things that hurt the most during this campaign, I always want people to see that we are paving the way, and we say paving the way because, the road is very rocky for a person of color to run for office. The road is very rocky for a woman to run for office. The road is very rocky for somebody with disabilities to run for office. The road is very rocky for somebody who is LGBTQIA to run for office. But we pave the way to make it easier for everybody else to be able to represent us one day, right? And be able to be a voice for us one day. And I know that, when we lost the race, Tim was in the room, and everybody was, waiting for things, and people were excited and bustling around, and I noticed that Tim was sitting in the corner by himself and just really upset. And I was like, Tim, are you okay? What's going on? And he said that thing that he saw was that, CNN had put out a broadcast, and that the race was called for, Goldman, and that Goldman was ahead of Jones. And, I was the person that was actually in the top two, but Tim said that that was the part that he was hurt by, the constant erasure. And we were erased throughout the race, which is normal and which is something that, I'm very used to, but I did not think about what it meant to, is it time? Sorry, I should just end. I did not think about what it meant for Tim and for all of our young people that were watching, and that trauma, even though it was something that I was used to. And so that's why it was, for me, very important to come today, to show people that we can get back up, and to show that we can, still continue to fight for our communities every single day.